Welcome everyone to our Recycling in San Jose webinar series brought to you by the Recycle team at the San Jose Environmental Services Department. This webinar, we're going to be talking about what happens to recycling in San Jose. Here's an overview of the things we'll be covering today. We'll learn why it's important to know what is happening to all your recyclables, who is picking up all your recycling, where are your recyclables going, and some challenges around recycling. First, why it's important. Knowing what is happening to your recyclables is essential to understanding how your recycling behaviors are contributing to a complex system that brings us so many benefits. When you recycle, it benefits public health, it cuts down on a lot of waste, it saves a ton of energy, it reduces greenhouse gas emissions, preserves natural resources, and it creates a lot of jobs. By recycling right, you're contributing to all of these important benefits. No wonder why when you recycle, it just feels good. If you want to know more details about these benefits, watch our Why Recycle webinar. The first step to understanding what is happening to your recyclables in San Jose is knowing who is picking it up. In San Jose, there are 4 companies who each pick up different materials in different areas of the city. If you don't know who your collection company is, you can find out by going to sanjoseca.gov/lookup. But no matter where you live in San Jose, you can count on these companies to pick up your waste on a weekly basis from more than 330,000 homes across San Jose. But to really understand the full recycling process, we need to take it back a couple of steps. For an example, we could start at the grocery store, where you bought some beverages in aluminum cans. You go home, consume the beverage, and place it into your cart or bin. Done. You recycled, right? Well, that's not really the case. Recycling isn't when you place it into the bin. Recycling is when that item ends up back on the shelf as the same or a new product. So where does it go from there? After it's in the bin, it gets picked up by one of the waste collection companies and is transported to a materials recovery facility, or MRF. At a MRF, it is sorted, processed, and baled into different commodity types. So for our aluminum can, it's going to be baled into a huge block with other cans. Once baled, it is sold and shipped to buyers and manufacturers, sometimes domestically, sometimes internationally. Once it's in the hand of a manufacturer, they take the materials, reprocess them, and turn them into new products. For our aluminum can, it'll likely become another can. For something like a plastic bottle, it can be made into something like polyester for clothing. But for our aluminum can, those new cans will be sold to a company that uses them, it'll be filled with the final product, and then back to the store it goes. The cycle is complete. That's when something gets recycled, when it completes that entire loop. So here's a video that shows that entire process. It starts with recycling and putting it into the cart. You take the cart to the curb, and it gets picked up by one of our waste collection companies. The company dumps it off at the MRF, and it begins our elaborate sorting process. After the sorting process, it is now sorted into bales by commodity type. It is shipped to international markets, manufactured into new products, and then back onto the store shelves. Now, what was just described is a perfect system that makes it all sound easy. But we do have some pressures and challenges in the recycling industry that determine how much and what is getting recycled. First, there are several state laws around waste and recycling, but some important ones determine how much we must divert away from the landfill. Important to note though, recycling diverts a lot of materials away from the landfill, making it super important. Along those same lines, the city has a zero waste goal, also requiring a high diversion level, a challenge by itself. Furthermore, there is China's national sword. China has been the world's biggest importer of recycling for decades, but implemented a policy in 2018 that closed off the recycling markets almost instantly. The reason for this is China noted that our materials are too contaminated to be sorted, recycled, processed, and turned into new products, which was true. So, China is no longer accepting shipments that are mixed with trash, the wrong type of recyclables, or low-quality recyclables like greasy and dirty paper, cardboard, and plastics. China's standard for recyclables is now a 0.5% contamination rate. This has created disruptions in the international recycling system resulting in recycled materials piling up at materials recovery facilities, as most other countries were not equipped to take the excess materials. Also, the waste stream is changing. There's less paper, mainly from there being a lot less newspapers, less glass containers, less metal containers like tin and aluminum, but there's a lot more plastic bottles, plastic packaging, snack wrappers, bags. Also, there's a lot more corrugated cardboard. So, as a recap, we have stricter standards from China's national sword, little outlets for materials, and new materials, many of which are not readily recyclable. So, all these forces have really caused disruption in recycling, but are things you can do to help ensure what you're placing in the bin gets recycled in the end. For those tips, check out our short How to Recycle webinar. Now that you know more about what happens to recycling, you may be motivated to learn even more. Here are some links to resources, videos, and activities. Just pause the webinar and visit the sites if you'd like to learn more. Thank you, everyone. I hope you're able to learn what happens to recycling in San Jose. By joining us, you're taking a great step at helping San Jose recycle right and keeping SJ clean.